Kim Peek, the real-life inspiration for the film Rain Man, could read 2 pages of a book simultaneously, one with each eye, and retained an estimated 98% of everything he ever read, memorizing over 12,000 books in detail. Yet Peek struggled with basic motor coordination and could not button his own shirt. Savant syndrome, extraordinary specific ability paired with significant overall cognitive impairment, remains one of neuroscience's most fascinating unsolved puzzles. Savant syndrome refers to the co-occurrence of significant developmental disability, often but not always autism spectrum disorder, alongside one or more areas of extraordinary specific ability that dramatically exceeds what would be predicted from the person's overall cognitive functioning level. Documented savant abilities cluster overwhelmingly in specific domains: calendar calculation, allowing rapid identification of the day of the week for any given date across centuries; musical ability, particularly the capacity to perfectly replicate complex music after a single hearing; artistic ability; and mathematical calculation. While savant abilities in domains requiring complex social or abstract verbal reasoning are far rarer. Approximately 10% of individuals with autism spectrum disorder show some savant-level skill, a substantially higher rate than in the general population or in other developmental disabilities, though the large majority of autistic individuals do not display savant abilities, and savant syndrome itself also occurs, less commonly, in individuals with other forms of developmental disability, and in some cases following brain injury in individuals with no prior developmental disability at all, a phenomenon called acquired savant syndrome. The weak central coherence theory, proposed by Jutta Frith and developed by researchers studying autism, proposes that autistic cognition, including savant ability, is characterized by unusually strong attention to local, detailed features of information at the relative expense of processing global meaning or context, a cognitive style that may impair broader social and contextual understanding while simultaneously enabling extraordinary performance on tasks that specifically reward intense focus on detailed, local patterns, such as memorizing precise calendar dates or replicating exact musical note sequences. Neurologist Daryl Treffert's research on acquired savant syndrome, cases where savant-level abilities suddenly emerge following brain injury or frontotemporal dementia in previously typical individuals, has documented a striking pattern of left hemisphere damage, particularly in anterior temporal regions, paired with the emergence of new artistic, musical, or mathematical savant-like abilities, suggesting that damage to typically dominant left hemisphere language and abstract reasoning circuits may sometimes release or unmask latent right hemisphere abilities related to detailed perceptual and pattern-based processing that are normally suppressed or overshadowed. Savant syndrome provides some of the most striking evidence available that specific cognitive abilities can be highly modular and dissociable from general intelligence and from each other. A savant with extraordinary calendar calculation ability may show significant impairment in basic verbal reasoning or social cognition, demonstrating that the human mind is not organized as a single unified intelligence that rises or falls together, but rather as a collection of at least partially independent, specialized cognitive systems that can develop or fail to develop largely independently of one another. Beyond purely neurological explanations, researchers increasingly recognize that the intense, narrowly focused interests and repetitive engagement with specific activities common in autism spectrum disorder likely function similarly to the deliberate practice that produces expertise in non-savant populations, providing thousands of hours of highly focused engagement with a specific domain from an early age. This suggests savant ability likely results from an interaction between an underlying cognitive predisposition, potentially involving weak central coherence or altered hemispheric processing, and the intensive, sustained practice enabled by autism's characteristic pattern of narrow, deeply absorbing interests. Savant syndrome stands as a profound challenge to simple models of unified intelligence, revealing that the human mind can house both extraordinary specific ability and significant broader limitations simultaneously. Understanding how this happens, through modular cognitive architecture, altered attentional style, and intensive practice, offers a window into the far more fragmented, specialized nature of human cognitive ability than most models of general intelligence assume.